Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Parents. In today's episode, what makes people with small children so entitled? Mother is demanding money in anticipation of my book release. Entitled grandmother won't interact with grandchildren. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. What makes people with small children so entitled? I'm spending time on a Sunday in a beautiful aquarium. I bought a ticket in advance. I arrived at opening to bypass some crowds, and I was very much looking forward to 1 to 2 hours wandering around looking at everything. So far, this venue has staggered entry. During my slot, I walked up and took a place in the queue. A family with 3 children ran up, filtered around me and began speaking literally over my head. I was crowded in and ended up backing out, so they got my place in line. I keep being banged by strollers. To be fair, it's dimly lit inside, but I feel like when you've hit someone, you could pause for a moment and say sorry. In the cafe, a lady let go of a stroller so loaded it immediately toppled into me, and so I spilled coffee everywhere. I was so conscious not to get hot liquid on her child she didn't even pause to check if I was alright or offer to buy me a replacement. One child is in the corner drumming their fists along the glass. That's not okay. If they have difficulties, I respect not all behavior is predictable or preventable, but they're stressing out the animals. If they can't be brought around, they need to be away from glass. It's a Sunday, so it's super busy. There's people in the gift shop having their infant children read aloud all the ice cream flavors and count out the money coin by coin, whilst loudly saying, "Oh, I'm sure no one minds, it's so cute. I mind." The final straw, which drove me to make this post, is when a family encouraged their young knee-height children to push through the throngs of people around the glass, and the mother said, "This is a venue for children. I don't even know why those other people are here. We're at one of the top-rated aquariums in the world. I feel like everyone has a right to be here." You chose to have children. It doesn't make you magically more important than everyone else. This is why my fragile-bodied older friends refuse to go to the Monterey Aquarium. Kids are not constrained, and if you need your cane to not fall over and break a bone, you won't be safe there. One friend was super excited to go, but spent the entire time in terror of a fractured bone. The Oregon Zoo, located in Portland, has special evening events where no one under 21 is allowed and they serve alcohol. That's the best way to see the zoo without being knocked over. I really don't understand why more attractions don't do adult-only hours. Amusement parks, zoos, water parks, etc. Most adults I know would actually pay more to go and spend more money there. Win-win. Yup. Nothing to do about it though. Best solution, go on a school day. Always avoid the weekends. I've gone to aquariums and zoos on a weekday. Then it's 40 little kids in a cluster at a time, running from exhibit to exhibit with a piece of paper and a pencil in their hands, because they have to write something down at each stop. And one teacher who is attempting to wrangle them all. And it's never just one class. It's apparently 3rd grade day at the aquarium and they are everywhere. I wouldn't care, except they are always screaming. They run from exhibit to exhibit, shoving in front of adults to see the animals, just generally cause chaos. Usually it's not even the kids' fault, it's the parents for not actually parenting their kids. Yes, children can be annoying, but the parents are supposed to be adults and instead think it's cute for the kids to act like animals. Yup. Whenever I see a misbehaved kid under like 8 or 9, I always blame the parents. They're responsible for wrangling their children, not letting them run wild. Even above that age, the parents are still responsible, though the blame does shift towards the kids as they get older, since they should know better. There are few things that annoy me as much as people who think a zoo/aquarium/amusement park or whatever is only for children. GTFO with that nonsense. That's why I always refuse to move for kids or strollers unless they are nice about it. I'm not going to be bullied by some hag who pushed a kid or 15 out. If adults have to pay more to get in than kids, then it's a place for adults, not kids. Mother is demanding money in anticipation of my book release. So, my parents have demanded money from any income I've had most of my life. When I was 12, I had a paper route that I never saw a dollar from, and when I was older, I constantly had to give/loan money to them and even used an entire paycheck to help cover rent more than once. I always assumed it was both, but after my parents split up, my dad stopped asking for money and my mom didn't, so it was obvious that she was the one always pushing for it. I love my mom, don't get me wrong. She did a lot right with raising me and my siblings, and as much as it sucked to keep giving up my own money, I felt that I had to pay her back for everything she did. Misguided, I know. But after my parents split up, she completely went off the deep end. She started doing heavy drugs and constantly going out to see men. I tried not to judge her, but it all came to a head when I brought my sons over for a family Thanksgiving years ago, and she literally spent the entire day in her room with 2 guys getting a tattoo that I never saw. Now she has no stable home, claims to be going to rehab every few months, and has a new boyfriend every time I hear an update from her. She never makes any effort or time to see me or my family, including my 7-year-old son that she has never even met. So I'm almost done writing a book. It's nothing spectacular, but I'm proud of it and some people might even like it. I've been posting on Facebook to my friends and family for people to help me review it and give me their thoughts, a process that has taken a couple of years, and to no one's surprise, she has done nothing to help with. I plan to publish soon, and so I get a message from her out of the blue saying, with the money you get from your book, you can help me make sure I have a great Christmas with me and boyfriend's name, kids. I've shrugged off similar messages from her in the past, but this one really set me off. All I said was, no, any money I make goes to my family, but I wanted to say so much more. She's still in contact with my siblings, so I don't want to upset her and cause more family drama. What I wanted to say was, I'm an amateur author doing their first book. This won't make much, if anything at all. And on the off chance I hit the proverbial lottery and people like it much more than I am expecting, I still won't give you a cent. My wife deserves help bringing in money for our family, my kids deserve a good education, and I have friends that say sup every couple weeks and ask about my children more than you do that I would give money to before you. So F***CK your boyfriend, and F***CK is kids that you care about more than your own grandchildren. I just wanted to get this off my chest. Thank you. Nope. You will get no more money from me. Although you have every right to tell her everything you said here. It was so tempting. But I have 4 siblings that still interact with her, and if I piss her off, they will have to hear about it. I don't want to do that to them. I agree, OP has the right to say it. The downside is people like their mom see anything other than yes as a negotiation point. If they want to say all this, just have the block button ready afterward. Make your next book about how you raised yourself up. Even if it only says I did it, message me, and I promise I will, but within reason, I live in a shit exchange rate country. Then give her $1 and say that is all she was/is worth. As tempting as that is, I'm more of a fantasy/sci-fi writer. Don't think I could make a real book out of the rantings of my parental problems. Even if you love your mom, the best way for you to help her is to not give her money. Entitled grandmother won't interact with grandchildren. This all began a few days ago. My mother, 75, asked my kids to help her rearrange the garage. We share a house together and had acquired some shelving from my ex. This project had started the day before with no issues. The next day we all go to finish and I see that some of the items we've put away aren't very secure. So the kids and her and I start moving stuff out of the way. Something happened whereby she got angry and my youngest, 13F, who snapped back that she was going to help her cousin, 14M, I am legal guardian, move a shelf. My mom didn't like how she replied and proceeded to tell us to do it all ourselves and storms off to her room. This is pretty typical behavior that she's displayed in the past, so we weren't shocked. The kids and I proceeded to finish the project. When it was all done, I went to check on her in her room. Door is closed, but it always is when she's angry. I ask if she's feeling well and she replies I'm not sick. I tell her that with everyone's big emotions in the garage, the shelf we were trying to move had to be dismantled because the legs were all warped. She tells me that her and I are going to have a talk about that, the emotions, to which I say I already know what you're going to say, and I'm fully prepared to take everything on. Side note, this isn't the first tantrum she's thrown, and has in the past threatened to move out. I'm a single mom to 3 teens and work a full-time job, and it would be extremely difficult for me to support them all on my own. So I'm expecting her to tell me she's actually going to move out, finally. All she replies is good. That's where I F you. We weren't taking about the same thing. Hindsight has led me to believe she will not be doing any helping at all, like anything she's helped with in the past, mostly meals. I leave her be, make supper, ask if she'd like to join my oldest, 15F, and she says no, I don't think so, rather rudely. Next day I have to work and oldest is home alone with her. Apparently she didn't leave her room and my daughter stayed in the basement all day. I pick up the boy from his friends after my shift and I check on her because we were supposed to go to our church picnic. She's sitting in the dark with her hand on her head indicating to me she's got a headache. I leave her be. Kids decide they don't want to go to the picnic, so I take them for supper instead and we go to church without her. I'm sitting in the pew starting at the door we enter wondering if she's going to show up all pissed we didn't ask her to go. My mom is very devout and doesn't miss Mass. She doesn't and Mass begins and I start to cry. I think I felt a bit of relief. I compose myself, then after Mass I take my girls to their dads and the boy and I go home. I check on her and she seems okay. Not angry that we didn't take her or anything like that. She doesn't ask if we went to the picnic. I let her know I've switched shifts with my boss so I'll be coming home late and that the boy knows to eat leftovers. She shrugs. Next day, I'm home from work in the evening and she's still in her room. Boy tells me he hasn't seen Auntie all day. I'm opening a package and she comes out of her room with a scowl on her face and I think now she's ready to brawl. I apologize for making too much noise, but she said it's fine, she thought I worked later than I did. Goes back to her room, then comes to the kitchen to fill her water bottle. She proceeds to tell me about her day and we have a normal conversation. She goes to bed. The next day, this is now 3 days post blow up, she's still in her room. Boy had gone out and I asked if he got permission, to which he said Auntie says she has no authority over me and to call you. He says he told her he can't because I'm at work and she told him to just do whatever he thought I would say. She didn't cook dinner for them, just her, and spent the day in her room. I check in once I get this info and let her know I won't be home after my shift the next day as it's my BF's birthday. She gives me the I don't care shrug and that's that. We made idle chat about what she was watching. So nothing out of the ordinary toward me, again. I don't know how much longer I can sustain this without going mental. I'm beginning to accept she's likely a narcissist, so I'm trying to gray rock her, but I've always had issues with her overpowering me. I don't think it's fair the way she's treating the kids. Especially my cousin who didn't do anything wrong. Her issues with him are a whole other post. She complains about not getting any respect, but I truly believe she's confused respect for obedience. Her expectations are so high, and when we, myself included, don't live up to that, this is what happens. I've told my ex that he can keep our girls for the time being. I'm worried with the return of school and appointments he or I can't get the kids to that she will refuse to help. She's even ignored my dog that she adores so much. So let her have her snit. Just ignore her. When she comes out of her room, just act like everything is normal. You don't want to give her the reaction she's looking for. That seems to have worked so far, so I won't rock the boat and just keep the status quo. I believe she's confused respect for obedience. That sentence was so succinct, and such an amazing point. I feel like it applies to a lot of entitled/narcissistic parents, and while I've certainly had similar thoughts, it never quite came off that way with words. I really like it. Thank you. Sadly, I had to Google the definition of respect because I fell in line with this thinking also. It was an eye-opener, for sure. Ultimately, she's still providing the financial support you need and she's not yelling at anyone anymore. I don't see the problem. Let her have her privacy and enjoy the fact that you're not having to find a new roommate. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.